What is up everyone, welcome back to another one on the A-Team channel. So as you all know, well, I'm not sure if all of you know, but I have been in the field of education for coming up to around, this is my 5th year now. Just saying that just makes it sound quite scary. And also having undergone and been through the system myself, and what I've noticed and having observed and witnessed others go through it, is that there is this psychology where there's a level of safety and comfort when we find ourselves in numbers. Like when you're at school, college, or even uni, you want to be seen with people around you. Now, this is of course important in many regards, as it also provides you with that reassurance and that safety net around you, making you feel subconsciously like you're in a safe place. In fact, this isn't just exclusive to school or college, it's applicable to all areas of life. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is primarily because I was having this conversation with a former student of ours. And when we taught him, he was an extremely likable guy. Other students were drawn to him, teachers were fond of him, he seemed to get along with everyone pretty well. But also, at the same time, it wasn't like he stuck out from the crowd. Like he seemed to fit in very nicely into the group dynamic. And by his own admission, he was never the one to take risks. Well, soon after he left, he just went missing for a couple of years. And whenever I'd ask around to anyone that knew of him, what he was up to, nobody seemed to know what he was doing because he cut all contact. Turned out that he decided to pack his bags and go traveling all around the world, living in some really remote places, and in the process, he became quite fluent in several languages and was also making a decent living as an actual travel vlogger. When I saw him and spoke with him, it genuinely felt like I was talking to a completely different person. In fact, he was the one explaining this concept of the lone wolf paradigm to me, which was pretty amazing, because having people around us can somewhat cause us to behave in a particular way. It's classic human conditioning at work. You can yourself go and find many psychologists that have conducted work on conformity and group psychology. These studies have found that when we are in groups, we tend to behave in a way where we start to seek the approval of others as our primary focus, as opposed to what we would have innately wanted to do if we had acted alone. And hey, look, I'm not advising that you all start packing up your bags now, and especially at a time where there's a global pandemic going on, just in case you didn't know, and when it's already pretty bad out there with the whole social distancing thing going on. And so I'm not going to be suggesting more ways of trying to isolate yourself. So when it came to today's video, the first thing that popped into my mind was that of a wolf. Now, ironically, wolves are highly social creatures. They hunt in packs and nurture for one another and raise their young as a group. In fact, the term lone wolf isn't entirely an accurate one either, as only a very small percentage of wolves actually isolate themselves completely from other wolves. But look, this is a phrase that is widely used, and when we think of this, we usually have this dark impression of an outcast that doesn't long for companionship and wants to live on the fringes of society. I think very few of us would actually want to live that way, if at all, and wolves themselves, they don't actually live that way either. See, the term lone wolf is more of an abstract idea. It's more about the inner wolf in you that is searching and seeking something greater than itself, a new territory to conquer, a pack of your own to rule, living a life of your own choosing. You can imagine, it could be any other creature, lion, snake, a koala bear. The point is, the hardest walk you could ever make is the one that you take on your own, and that is also the one that makes you the strongest. And it's when you have to walk on your own path, that's when you start to build a ton of character. You can't gain that from the comforts of just staying in a collective group. You have to realize that it's the most strenuous journeys that lead to the greatest destinations. See, when that wolf sets off on its own trajectory, it's risking its own survival, as it's extremely difficult to hunt and survive on your own. But the wolf knows it has no choice but to persevere in order to reap the rewards of the risk that it takes. And that is the very goal that drives him. So look, I know there are many of you that somewhat feel like if you don't do what other people have expectations of you to do, then there's no other option. Or that you'd be seen as a failure in their eyes. The biggest failure, in my opinion, is if you don't attempt to do something which you have a burning desire to do inside of you. Simply putting it off because of what others think of you just makes you a coward. So you don't really need me to be saying anything else. You probably got the gist of what I'm trying to get at. So whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you desire, if you want to get it, then you must be willing to walk alone. You must be willing to leave the pack. Maybe not permanently, but to walk away, to come back stronger. And that is how you become independent, courageous, and acquire the ability to leave a mark. And that is also how you get what you truly want, and also be respected by others in the process. Just because you see people heading over to the crowd over there, it doesn't mean that they are walking in the right direction. Just remember, a lot of people stick with the herd simply because they're afraid deep down inside. And as I said at the start, there's comfort and safety in numbers. So on that note, I hope you got the message from today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next one. My name is Amin, and I will catch up with you another time.
Trying to put him in the worst mood. P1 cleaner than the church shoes. Really point to just to hurt them. All red lamps to tease them. None of these